Good evening. Welcome to the show. Don't know if anybody's going to watch. It's okay. It's fine. I know, though, this is really late for me, but we'll be okay. We are going to discuss a young man. Oh, perfecto. Subsplit P. So, there's a young man missing. His name is Aidan Clune. I have some intel, not really a lot, but some. We will go over what we have, and we will hopefully be able to try to help this family because the grandmother and the mother are reaching out desperately. And I know I'm not a big wig like Dolly or JLR or all those other guys that can go get up and just snag a plane at any random time they want and just go. I know I'm not anywhere near them big wigs, but if we can at least hopefully maybe get one of them to look our way to try to help with this young man, try to get his name out there again, it'd be awesome. But the bitter, sad truth to all of this is the young man was overshadowed by a different case. As bitter of a truth as that is, the only time you may see his name is compared to when is basically right next to Dylan Rounds' name. And we all know how that case ended. So I want to separate them both to where they are both two separate entities, two separate people, like they are. And I'm going to play this news recording for you guys.
I'm Marnie Hughes in Chicago, and this is Missing. Each week, we feature a missing person case from across the country. Men and women, young and old, from all different races and backgrounds. Every missing person matters, and each case deserves attention. It is important to us, and it is important to the friends and families of each of the missing people that we meet. This week's case is a focus on the disappearance of a young man from California. There is a blurry image out there, and it may be the only clue right now his family has to go on. His name is Aidan Clune. He's been missing now for a year and a half. He left his pickup truck on the side of a Nevada highway, and then he ran off into the wilderness. No one knows why he took off. His mom says he may have been having a mental crisis, but she has not given up hope that he made it out of those mountains alive and is somewhere out there. She is now asking anyone who recognizes the man in the blurry image you'll see in a moment to come forward and help their family. Aidan Clune was 19 when his truck was found abandoned by the side of a Nevada highway on April 27, 2022.
They said that the passenger side door was open and his wallet, his clothes and belongings, his laptop were all sitting on the passenger seat.
His mother frustrated because you can hear the highway patrol dispatcher say Aidan's name and that he's missing.
The same person under the age of 21.
But there's no immediate search.
All of the law enforcement that I talked to at that time, I told all of them he was having a mental breakdown. He was having some kind of primary psychosis. He needed help.
The boy who once mugged for the camera and showed off his guitar talent on Instagram was now an adult, protected by privacy laws.
I was beside myself. I mean, I just feel like I'm hitting my head on a brick wall, screaming at them, help me, find my son, help my son.
Days later, the sheriff taking her down the rutted two-track road to see the vast search area. Aidan's distinctive sneaker prints tracked to a location 10 miles into the wilderness at the north end of Cherry Creek mountain range. But snow ended the search.
We're gonna check this area for Aidan.
Amy Clune and her sister have made multiple trips from California, tracing Aidan's steps.
Came through here. Gotcha. Then he walked across.
His mom climbing to those last coordinates and finding a glimmer of hope.
When I turned around on the side of this mountain and looked around, what I saw was directly north was Highway 93. My theory at that point was he did not go southwest, he went northeast. He could see the road.
Another trip finding shoe prints to support their theory.
They're peanut shaped, which means they're tennis shoe. These footsteps were embedded into the ground, which means that they were made during the wet season. And this was the first time that we actually thought he might have made it out of the range.
It's an absolute possibility.
Bill Dosey runs Find 911, his search dogs confirming Aidan's path.
Our tracking dog confirmed the two spots that law enforcement had located, and then we continued on past that.
And high-tech drones using artificial intelligence scoured the mountains.
We upload images of Aidan, suspected clothes he was wearing. Our software will, while running through Amazon's AI server, search for those things, even though they may be underbrush or partially covered by debris.
But it found nothing of Aidan's. Now a new trail leading to Salt Lake City. A woman says she's seen Aidan on the train and around downtown.
He's always walking. Looks like he doesn't really have a place to live.
Passing him on the city transit, she was able to get a quick image.
I'm almost 100%, 101% it's him.
Amy agrees it could be Aidan.
His hair in the photograph is consistent with Aidan's hair. The jawline is definitely consistent.
In September, Amy and her sister went to Salt Lake, visiting homeless camps and showing photos of Aidan and his tattoos.
A handful of people say they recognized Aidan's poster.
A mother now asking for any help locating the man in the image.
There is somebody in Salt Lake City who strongly resembles my son, and we have to find that young man so that we can rule it out, or it would be a miracle if it was Aidan. It would be a miracle, and I would be ecstatic.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to
Hope. A simple image. Now, I really can't do anything from my standpoint. The parents are asking for help for this young man. And I concur. I have, from my understanding, one of the only lives his mother has done. And I would love to share some of this with you guys. Bit more informative, bit more intel than I have right now. I do not really have much. I've reached out, and a lot of people who are still actively looking for Aidan has referred me to this YouTube channel a lot. And I want to share, so it's a pretty lengthy video, but I want to share some of it this evening, and then tomorrow I will share some more. I'll break it down in intervals. A big thanks to the Unfound podcast channel for their research. But I'd like to share maybe the first half hour of this with you guys, if y'all don't mind.
He was never seen again. I'm Ed Dentzel, and this is Unfound.
I may get in trouble for the movie.
A common feeling expressed by family members to me, although some don't come right out and say it during the interviews, is a sense of helplessness. Whether their loved ones are mixed up in drugs or habitual criminal activity or mental health struggles, these mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and friends, they feel as powerless as if they're watching a plane crash in the distance. No words or actions change the trajectories of these troubled people's lives. Robbie Hurt, a family man who could not overcome his longtime heroin addiction, found deceased. Brandon Barron, a son whose mental and drug issues got so bad he threatened to kill his parents, found deceased. Renee LaManna, a young woman whose paranoid schizophrenia got worse and worse. And in fact, she ran off while her sister was in the process of providing Renee with a better place to live. Renee is still missing. We're left thinking that nobody could have changed the outcomes of these and many other unfound disappearances. Well, with Aidan Clune, we are confronted with the same situation. A great kid who began to lose touch with reality. Is there anything that anybody could have done to stop the spiral? And now a summary of the case. This is brought to you by my friend Megan Linez's website, charlieproject.org. Aidan Clune was the kind of kid who kept to himself and looked for no trouble from anyone. He was creative and musical. Aidan was close to his mother, but did not have much of a connection to his father. Aidan liked to work and had several different jobs as a teenager. However, a prank done to him by a strange girl that went viral on TikTok sent Aidan into a funk in which his mental health began to deteriorate. He suddenly began...
God, this child was a good kid, but one simple thing messed him up. How was that? It's just wrong on so many levels, guys. For those young ones, don't pull pranks on others. You don't know what kind of everlasting effect it will have on them.
Began to be suspicious of people. Aidan would make plans, then back out. This culminated in him deciding to take a trip to see his grandparents in Utah. Aidan's mother thought this was a great idea. So, on April 26th, 2022, Aidan showed up at his father's parents'. However, things went badly quickly. While riding in his own truck with his grandfather, Aidan's personality quickly changed, and he forced his grandfather to get out of the truck on the side of a highway, abandoning him. The next day, over the border in Nevada, in the middle of nowhere, a highway patrol officer came across Aidan's truck. Aidan's possessions were strewn around it. He wasn't there. He was never seen again. An eventual area search discovered shoe prints going off toward a distant mountain range. The trail lasted for over 10 miles before vanishing in the sandy high desert. Searches since have yielded interesting information, but no firm ideas as to where Aidan could be. Neither the free market nor governments have been able to get a handle on how to effectively treat adults with mental health issues who don't want help. Contemplate how people's rights can be respected while also getting them the therapy they need, while you also try to answer these 3 questions during the interview. Number 1, was an opportunity missed by the highway patrol officer to end the disappearance just a few hours into its existence by him not taking the abandoned truck more seriously?
I think they lost valuable time playing the I thinks game. If anyone is missing, police should not take their sweet time trying to figure out whether or not it's viable intel. The boy truck was abandoned on the side of the road with everything left in it. And you're telling me that it's not viable? The hell on out of here.
Number 2, could Aidan's disappearance have been caused by him putting the wrong destination into his GPS? And number 3, should we be open to the idea that Aidan didn't exactly run off, but somebody encountered him out there in those mountains? Aidan's family has no firm idea regarding a theory as to why he has not been found yet. The guest for this episode is Aidan's mother, Amy Clune. Next, have all of you heard of the fire in the sky UFO incident? Well, it is the topic of the newest Found episode available to Patreon and YouTube supporters. Join at either site to partake in my analysis of this now well-known story. Finally, I got to meet one of Unfound's longest listeners this past weekend in Orlando. He got in on the ground floor way back in 2016. We had a good time talking about all sorts of stuff. I'm so happy to have on this episode of Unfound the mother of Aidan Clune, Amy Clune. Amy, welcome to Unfound.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
And good to talk to you, Amy. The listeners should know that she and I have spoken quite a few times, and she sent me a lot of information, of course, regarding the searches that we're going to talk about. And by the time all you listeners are hearing our voices, I will have put at least some, if not all, of this material out there, so you can see all the work that Amy has been doing going into Nevada to try to find her son. We're going to get into that, of course, in this discussion, but sometimes it's hard to really explain some of it in audio. So you're going to really hear about Amy going out there and going over many square miles trying to figure out, of course with help, going out there trying to find her son. But we're going to start here, Amy. It's good to talk to you. And on this episode, we're recording this on April 28th of 2024. Let's just first talk about your family. Of course, Aidan is your son, but do you have any other kids, daughters, sons?
No.
What can you say about your family?
Aidan is my only son.
Wow.
He's my only child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's my only son, and I come from a family of 6 siblings, and strangely, a lot of us only have one son, one child.
What do you think's up with that, Amy?
I guess remembering the competition for stuff like the bathroom
and food.
It was, yeah, and then there was always arguments and stuff, and I don't know why that is, but I think that a lot of families are smaller these days too.
That's
but,
true. True.
He was my only son, my only child.
Okay.
And so.
I have to ask, how did you come up with the name Aidan? Does that have some family significance, or is it named after a famous person, or what? Where'd you get Aidan?
Well, it's a combination. So I have my mother's maiden name, and that was for my grandfather, Jerome Clune.
Okay.
And we're from County Clare in Ireland, our family, a couple generations back, three generations back, and from the town of Quinn. And so I've always liked Aidan Quinn, the actor.
Sure, I know who he is. Sure.
And so there was kind of this melding of ideas in my mind, and so I decided to name him Aidan Jerome Clune after my dad. But Aidan came from Aidan Quinn.
That's interesting. I like it.
I'm sorry, after Aidan's grandfather.
Okay.
My dad.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my grandfather, Aidan's great-grandfather. Can we do that?
Okay. So that's how you came up with the name Aidan.
Yes.
Okay. Good Irish name, and listeners maybe know that I'm 2/3 Irish myself. So we're both from Ireland, and that's how Aidan. I should have known, knowing that that's like kind of an Irish name. Maybe I should not have been surprised where you got it, but it's certainly your grandfather, his great grandfather's name, and then of course the actor, etc. Thank you for that. Very good. I love talking about because we do run into some unusual names. When you do 350 interviews over 7.5 years, you're going to run into some names that aren't common. And so I always make sure the listeners understand where some of these names come from. Okay.
And I would like to say one other thing about Aidan's name.
Yeah, please.
There's out there on the interweb, I like to call it, people have mistakenly misspelled his name, and it's always been this way. His schools, everywhere. There's no E in Aidan.
Okay.
It's AIDAN.
Yeah.
And it's gotten confused so many times that when I went to his graduation, his high school, they misspelled it on his middle school
Oh my.
graduation. So when it came up to his high school, I went into that office and kept reminding them. I said, please.
Yeah, I get it.
Don't misspell his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Always been a thing.
Okay. Let's talk about Aidan. What was he into? Young man, boy, what was he into? Sports, video games, what kind of interests? How would you describe his personality as a little kid, maybe getting into his preteen years? How would you explain all that?
Yeah, he was always pretty creative. Like he learned how to draw at a very young age.
Wow.
Always drawing. Then got into Legos, and in Legos he was always years ahead. Like the age group.
Yes.
And he would get stuck sometimes, but he was really focused. He didn't want to get up and stop doing them. And I got him these huge Lego sets, like some Star Wars, and he didn't want to stop until it was done. And I only had to help him a few times when he got stuck and he'd go backwards. And he was good at that. He was a reader. I read to him a lot. It's no surprise that later in middle school and stuff, he was a good writer. He was reading. His reading comprehension was always way off the charts. By middle school, he was at college level reading, and he very high comprehension. And